I can't help. I have my ears perked up at the name Midwestern Marks because I'm a Midwestern boy myself. You guys can tell from my accent. And Eddie, I want you to speak on this because I want to lead with the main story, but I want to make sure I touch on this because I think you speak on this. I want you to explain the name Midwestern Marks, and I assume you're from the Midwest. You can speak on how receptive do you think people in the Midwest may be to our message, or like you can speak anecdotally, like your own personal experience. I'm very interested in that because I'm a Midwestern boy, and I want to hear your point of view. Why choose the name Midwestern Marks? Why do you think that's an effective way to lead with?
Yeah, we've always, Carlos and I, who started the website, we've always had a theory that there are different cultures and even different material conditions no matter where you go around the United States. So like culture in California in Los Angeles is very different than the Midwest and very different than the Deep South or very different than the East Coast. So the form that class struggle takes, the traditional Marxist theory is that it takes a national form, a different national form in every country, a different unique form based on the material conditions of that country. And our idea is that, you know, the different areas of the United States are going to need unique forms of struggle. So we have tailored, I mean, our message is tailored towards anyone. And, we want to build international solidarity and solidarity with anyone who's willing, but specifically tailored towards the Midwest and workers in the Midwest who, when we were caucusing for Bernie and working for Bernie Sanders, which Carlos and I both did, he was a big volunteer and I actually worked as an intern on the campaign. We were knocking on doors, and like the campaign infrastructure that they program into your phone would take us only to registered Democrats. And anytime we would try to do something and push the campaign organizers to do something more bold, like go and knock on doors in a trailer park where the landlords were trying to jack up the rent and force everybody off the land and things like that, they were always resistant to it. They wanted us to focus on registered Democrats. And a lot of times we were in these super wealthy neighborhoods knocking on doors talking to people about Medicare
I
for all.
remember
And
that.
they're just like, I don't want that to come out of my taxes. I already have good insurance. I'm like, okay, well, I don't really have much to say to you then.
I told you guys before when I was canvassing for like 5 weeks in South Carolina. I talked to like rednecks. I talked to extremely socially conservative black people, and I mean, I told the story 1,000 times, but there was this black dude that was like, "Bro, I would never vote for Pete Buttigieg because he's gay." You know what I mean? I'm talking about extremely socially conservative. I had them nodding along with me way more than I did bourgeoisie liberals. And the reason why I can relate to this because you said like I remember when we were canvassing, I knocked on hundreds, thousands of doors during my time. Whenever I went to an affluent neighborhood, I was like, "Fuck." Like fuck,
It's a
man.
waste of time.
It was a waste of time.
Yes, we would get so angry, and we would we would fight against the campaign managers, and there was a lot of friction there, and they didn't want us criticizing Democrats either. They would always have us
I'm
delete
glad I
our
have
tweets.
freedom. See, I'm glad they didn't. I was in Beaufort, South Carolina. It was pretty, not super small, but relatively small town. They had some Bernie people out there, but it was decently radical. I'm glad. Like if I was in Charleston, where it was much bigger, they probably would relegate what I said. But I was radical as fuck out there. I was radical, but I was there. I was criticizing everyone. But I can definitely see the cowards in the Bernie campaign telling their more radical activists not to criticize Democrats. I'm just personally glad I didn't deal with that. But Eddie, go ahead.
Yeah. A lot of the campaign in our area was run by professional managerial class people, and they just like their class interest would show in every situation. Like they didn't want to have a very basic message based on class. It was, more based on PMC issues with Medicare for all and a few class issues thrown in there. So yeah, that's why we started Midwestern Marks, to offer people a class-based alternative and and an anti-imperialist alternative, because now if you look at how Bernie and all these so-called socialists have gone along with the proxy war effort in Ukraine, we need an anti-imperialist movement here in this country as well.
So I'm very lucky that my family is mostly apolitical. It allowed my transition to what I do now much smooth. It was much smoother. CJ and few of my old RBN comrades, they'll tell me stories about liberals and their family who was upset at them. I never had to deal with that because a lot of people in the Midwest, man, we're just trying to survive. A lot of people out here is deeply religious, but they hear my politics, and I'm more speaking like black and brown Midwesterners. They'll hear my politics about black liberation. They don't care about capitalists and the term capitalism and socialism and communism. I got people in my family apolitical as fuck that nod at everything I say political. They don't consider themselves socialists and communists. These are things people inherently support. And now that's people that close to my family. But even when you talk to the white working class in these areas, if you speak to the material needs, like, do you? And this is me personally. Like, I don't know how anyone else is out here. Do you guys really need them to agree on your terms? You know what I mean? Do you really need someone to say, "Oh, after our conversation, I'm now a communist"? I don't need that. I personally don't need that. I need you to agree with increasing our material needs, agree with the workers taking their fair labor value back, and holding the ruling class accountable. And that's where you get a lot of people in the Midwest to agree with. Where a lot of people get misled, and I see that there be like good people who will get misled because we are socially conservative as fuck. And the Republican and Democratic Party has mastered the ability to push culture wars out there that completely distract otherwise class-conscious people into supporting great policies, which is why the Bernie Sanders progressive left strategy, as you exposed, of ignoring people that outside of their PMC left political box is astoundingly incompetent. It's yeah, you may not get because guys, there are people in my family, and I'm not gonna say I ain't trying to get these people canceled. They support Medicare for all, dude. They support ending the war. They support all this y'all talking about. But good luck talking to them about the trans issue. I got older black people in my family. I got people. I had conversations where I was upset with this dude. He's like, man, I don't really fuck with them trans people. I'm like, what, dude? Like, come on, like, and that's how the Midwest is. So a PMC, Bernie Sanders leftist, is gonna lean into that shit. They're gonna meet someone in the Midwest who disagrees with them on the trans issue, and they're gonna immediately cut them off. Man, if you get the trans issue wrong, I'm not saying this issue not important, but if you get this wrong, the PMC left will cut you off. No debate, no conversation. You're done. Now, someone from the Midwest who know people who otherwise that are good-hearted, but they don't follow every talking point like trans people in sports and all this stuff. The professional boutique left will cut them off real quick. Meaning, and I made this point before, they hate the very people they claim they fight for. Because you guys claim you fight for the poor. You guys claim you fight for black people and the workers. Not every single poor and black person has PMC approved positions. I have friends to this day that make crude jokes and say words that you guys probably give them censored for. They offline, like they extremely offline. They're not on Twitter, not on YouTube. They'll say some shit. I'm like, damn, if you say that shit on Twitter, you'd be fucked, son. You'd be fucked. but the people who claim that they fight for my brothers who say stuff like that, they will cut them. Imagine if we held a rally and they knew what some of my friends said in passing and jokes. They would say, "Oh, you're not allowed to attend this rally because you said this one thing about trans people. You said this one thing about this issue." That's the Midwest, guys. And if you're not, I saw a comment before that said you never been to the Midwest before. It sounds weird. In West Coast liberals, West Coast and East Coast elites won't understand this. Their religion is strong here. Social conservative belief is strong here. They still want the best for people, though. Like, it's hard to explain. Eddie, maybe you can explain better than me. And a lot of times, their ignorant positions doesn't come from malice. It comes from them not understanding. That's why I can't stand the PMC approach of there's no education, there's no debate. You support the Democratic Party line, you support the PMC socially approved line, or you're done. That's not how you movement build. And that's why I like that you are willing to reach out. And we need people to want to reach out to the Midwest. And if I'm going to be frank, because and you can speak on, I know I'm ranting, you can go next, but I've spoken out many times on white people not doing the work. To be 100% real, you have white people that will go on Twitter, social media, and they will say all these great things. Meanwhile, their family's fucked up. They're not talking to the people in their own community. So at least that's what you're doing. Like that is what real allies are supposed to do. Like talk to their people and flip them. So any last thoughts you have on this topic, Midwestern Marxism and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, people know inherently what's in their own class interest, like you said. So if you speak to their material interests, you like you said, pretty much everyone who's a working class person can get on board with these ideas like free healthcare or just class struggle for the working class in general. A lot of times, they're scared of communism, but you have to introduce them to those ideas, and a lot of times they have socially conservative views, but that's a lot of times they haven't been exposed to the other side. They haven't been exposed to any trans people or whatever. And we've actually worked out this sort of idea that we should just dismiss everyone in the Midwest or in the Deep South because they have some socially conservative positions or whatever, because they're not perfect on all the issues that Twitter leftists demand that you be perfect on. That we should just dismiss them. We call this the purity fetish. And Carlos, one of our editors, actually just published this book fully fleshing out this concept. It applies both to how people, socialists in the imperial core, view existing socialist countries and expect them to be perfect before they will support them in any way, shape, or form.
Yes.
And then they expect the same thing of the working class. They expect a perfect working class, a pure working class, a working class that already has all the right positions, a working class that doesn't say anything abrasive or doesn't say anything they don't like. And it's just not realistic. You can't choose, you can't pick and choose your working class. The working class is what it is. Their political consciousness is what it is. The only way to raise that political consciousness is to go to them and to talk to them. If you dismiss them as being impure and, don't go talk to them, that's never going to happen. And like you said, it's mostly like white people. It's mostly white leftists who are calling these people, fascists, saying all Midwest workers are fascists. Like when the John Deere strikes were going on, we went and stood shoulder to shoulder on the picket line with them. And, a lot of them told us that they voted for Trump, but they did it because they thought he was going to bring jobs back or whatever. And, we were talking to them about socialism and trying to raise their political consciousness. Rather than, we didn't leave the picket line and say, screw this, form of class struggle, screw these John Deere workers rising up against their boss, against their company that's owned by Bill Gates and the other largest shareholders in the country. They voted for Trump. Ideally, we wouldn't want them voting for Trump. We want to raise their political consciousness as much as we can, but that's not a reason to dismiss somebody. Nobody's fully pure. Everybody makes mistakes.
And I want you guys to understand, it's not just white guys that they throw into the trash. They don't like me. Like I gave a speech at Worker Strike Back. I gave a speech for the March for Medicare for All. I give speeches. I like giving speeches. It's fun. They didn't attend the March for Medicare for All because they see a bunch of deplorables there. They're like, we don't want to be seen marching with deplorables. Nurses unions. Black people like me. You guys know I don't have health care. You guys know that? A lot of people think I'm balling for some reason. I don't have health care. But I'm giving a speech. I'm marching for health care. I'm marching for something that I materially need. And the DSA left the Nina Turner because she refused to attend the March for Medicare for All. They was like, we don't want to be seen with you guys. I was at Worker Strike Back. If you guys think I'm too radical, I was at Worker Strike Back talking about union organizing, something that the progressive left pretends to care about. I was at Worker Strike Back. Shama Sawan reached out to these people. They told me behind the scenes. And none of them attended. They want nothing to do with socialist alternative. So let's get this straight, Eddie. Let's get this straight. So they don't want to march with Trump supporters. They don't want to march with black Marxists like me. They don't want to march with socialists like the socialist alternative is to my right, whether you guys believe it or not. They don't want to march with socialist alternative. They don't want to march with RBN. They don't want to march with black Marxists. They don't want to march with Trump supporters. It seems to me like they only want to march and organize with liberals. Doesn't that seem like what it is to you?
They hate the working class. They like the working class in the abstract, the idea of the working class, right? They like to say that they're fighting for the working class. But when it comes time to organize with the working class, no, they're not pure enough. We can only organize with liberals who already share 99.9% of our positions.
AOC does not want to be seen with you. She wants to be seen with David Schroeder, the Oscar winner. She doesn't want to be seen with you at a protest. She want to be seen with Alex Wagner, the replacement for Rachel Maddow. She was just on the Daily Show. I didn't see it. I don't think I can play it because Daily Show has hard copyright, so I can't even do a response to her appearance. But she was interviewed on the Daily Show talking about Clarence Thomas. So she want to be seen with comedians on the Daily Show, but she do not want to be seen with you fucking deplorables at the March for Medicare for All. Do you guys see where their class interest lies? And I know, RBN, we are uniquely angry at these people. Like, there's not many people that cover the NATO left and the boutique left and AOC and Bernie Sanders the way we do. And I know we cover them a lot. But to me, I am astounded more people don't cover their betrayal. Like, Eddie, I was on board. I was a member of the Bernie Sanders campaign. There was a time where I liked AOC, I liked Cori Bush, I liked Nina Turner. And to see what they are now is one of the biggest political betrayals I have ever seen. Like, this is up there with Obama. I am still shocked to this day at how bad that group turned out to be. And I feel like more people should be talking about it. It's insane how bad, because like Joe Manchin, I know you want to chime in, but Joe Manchin is horrible, but he takes corporate money. Like, he straight up telling you, like, yo, I'm running, I'm going to be horrible, I'm going to represent corporate interests. If you vote for me, you're a moron. If you vote for them because they're morons, he wins. But what Bernie and the left does, which is, to me, more evil, and I'm more open for people to disagree with me on this. How is it not more evil for you to take money from poor and working class people? You are taking advantage of people like me who had no health care, who's struggling. So we decided to do everything we can, even if that means us donating money that we don't have, committing labor that we shouldn't be committing to. And then you guys betray us? You guys betray us. And the people, oh my God, Nick always complaining about AOC and Bernie Sanders. Why are you guys always complaining about them? Motherfucker, they committed one of the biggest political heists and con jobs I've ever seen. And my support for Bernie, AOC, and the squad hinged on the idea that I believed them. Like, what I mean by that is that I saw how much working class money they was taking. I saw the Bernie Sanders town hall. Like, I don't know if you guys remember those Bernie rallies. I used to watch all of them. You had like disabled people. You have all these people give their testimony, damn near in tears. Like, Bernie, you're our only hope. I'm gonna die without health care. I cannot afford premiums. I can't afford, like, these people will be in tears talking to Bernie. And Bernie, don't worry, man. I'm gonna fight for you, bro. Don't worry. I hear your pain. I hear your struggle. I'm gonna fight for you. Please donate to me, guys. And then they turn around and betray those people. I did not think they had that in them. Like, one of the reasons I thought Bernie and AOC in them was legit, because I think, like, who would do that? Who would take advantage of people suffering? Who would take money from working class people in the middle of a recession and then betray them? So I was telling people, like, bro, there's no way. There's no way. Like, there's no way they would do that, right? There's no way they would do that. They did. So that's why I'm like, dude, I feel like there should be way more anger, but there's not. But anyway, Eddie, any last things you want to chime in on, and I'll move on to the AMLO topic.
I just wanted to say I am not one of the people who complains about how much you guys cover AOC and Bernie, because like you said, I was in that Bernie sphere.
No, to be clear, most of the people who complain are the people who like AOC and Bernie. Like, oh my God, why are you so obsessed? But go ahead, Eddie.
But it's true. Like, you're not obsessed. You just watched, these people promise us so many things. And we really believed in this Justice Democrat strategy, that they were literally calling it a hostile takeover of the Democratic Party, which is freaking hilarious now that they were ever calling it that. And then you got Kyle Kalinske out here trying to push Marianne Williamson. Like, you guys haven't learned shit. Like it was a con job. And I mean, social democrats, historically, reformists have always sided with the fascists in times of crisis and sided with imperialism and against the Marxists, which is what a lot of people were saying during the Bernie campaign. I didn't necessarily believe them because I thought there was no way that Bernie and AOC and them would do that. But here they are advocating to send your tax money to pay for weapons for Nazis in Ukraine.